It always comes to this. More nice shit. Morning guys, back again doing another tattoo progress update today. Where I last left off, I showed off my underarm / armpit area here that is peeling fairly well. It's, you know, pretty well exactly what we expected. I do think that we'll probably have to touch up some of the red in there. It's a little bit thin, much like it is in here. Again, this is all first pass red on black, so it shouldn't be that surprising that it's not as solid as, say, the stuff up here or anywhere on this arm, right? Because that's the first time in there, and again, sensitive tissue, you don't really want to risk overworking it, but we have a fairly positive result. We have the image of the monster's face in there, and for me, key for a first pass of work over black is not to get a finished product in one go. It's to mostly get the actual like definition and clarity of the thing in there, and so then you can come back and work on the foundation. It's kind of like building the foundation of a new house or something. So the idea is always like as long as we can see it and it's defined and the texture is there or the line work is there, then we can buff up the color and we can make it all shine later. So yeah, but the rest of this is all healed for quite a while. I guess it was about 6 weeks ago that we worked on it last, and so we'll probably get into this again in a few weeks. The last time we took a little bit more time off because we had some slow healing in here. I had a little bit of a scabby spot, which is very rare for me. Usually I just flake off very quick. So anytime you have that, you want to leave it alone for a little while. The skin will have a bit of a shine or a gloss to it, and that's how you know it's still healing somewhere. And as soon as that kind of shiny top layer is gone, you're more or less good to go again. You can work on top of that stuff, but it won't heal as well, and it will probably hurt more as well. Not that I really give a shit about that part. I get so many people who ask me the question of like, do additional layers hurt more? Like, can you feel a difference between the first layers and I think the first layers probably hurt the most because so much of our pain reception is like mental anyway. It's like it will always be impossible to tell you for real. It probably does hurt a little bit more now, but you get so used to the same things over and over again that there really is nothing that makes you bat an eye, or there's no real surprise or any new experience with the actual the feeling. So the more you get used to it, the less it kind of shakes you, you know. I think when you're first sitting down to do something, like I remember my first time getting my armpit tattooed, it was like this, like everyone had made it to be such a crazy thing, so I went into it thinking, oh man, this is gonna suck or something. Like I tried to suppress that thought, but I probably felt that deep down. And then when you get into it and you kind of disarm it, subsequent sits, it's like, well, I survived it, it wasn't so bad, or like, or there's other ones like my lower back, for example, which nobody prepared me for that. And with all the tramp stamps that were done, you know, you'd think that that would be an easy one, but for me, the lower back is far more painful than the nipples or the armpit or the belly button or any of these other ones that people like to fetishize or something. They like to like fearmonger around the pain of certain things, and then it's the lesser thought of ones that actually hurt the most for me. It's like things like your deep inner thigh or the inside of your bum cheek or your crotch area. Like these are things that actually fucking suck, and no one ever talks about those. And there are places that they always hurt. Like, for example, I had my neck tattooed again here, obviously. I'm going to get into that in a bit. I've never had a neck tattoo session that I enjoyed, ever. I liked the result. And I always find it funny when like someone with some tiny ass black and gray tattoo on their neck will tell you something like, "I slept through my neck tattoo." It's like, first off, no, you didn't. That's almost certainly a lie. And second off, there like this shouldn't be such a tough guys club. We do have like I think that this anesthetic tattoo thing is stupid. I don't use numbing cream. I don't feel I need it personally. But like if it's gonna help you get through it, whatever, go for it. But I also think that it's dumb to try and tell people that these things don't hurt too. I think that's a fucking lie. I think unless you're like all of your nerve endings are done, you have no pain receptors, this shit hurts. It doesn't matter what the fuck some blowhard it's usually always the guys with very little work that will say this, or they'll have a lot of work scattered all over the place, just kind of covering their bases, and they think that that makes them heavily tattooed or something. Realistically, I still don't walk around feeling heavily tattooed, as crazy as that is. If you wear it as some kind of a status symbol, I have a lot of tattoos, like that whole thing. Those guys tend to be the ones that will tell you things like tattoos don't hurt. It's like, yeah, calm down, big boy. They do hurt, and it's like this weird like shame thing that people get into. It's like if you then express that it hurt you, you're now a wuss, and it's like that message usually comes from people who don't have that much work. Usually the guys that have full bodysuit plus are the ones to tell you, yeah, this shit fucking sucks sometimes. But like we still do it because there's a lot of benefit in going through the pain too. It's not like the whole experience is bad or something and it just necessarily sucks every step of the way. There's a lot of good stuff that comes from the pain. First off, like obviously the adrenaline rush and the feeling of accomplishment that you get from going through those things is enough, even in its own sake, that people could become attached to this process. It's not because I like tattoo images that I keep getting tattooed. Just as an MO, guys, there's some chemical release involved in this too, and that's part of why you could say I have some kind of an addiction to it. It's not because I physically can't stop putting roses on my body because I'm addicted to roses. It's a silly take. Speaking of, obviously had the light blue highlights done on my neck roses again. We did the black around them. We did do that last time, but again we did this shading thing off of the roses that kind of gave the red sort of like a rust red vibe. And we had done that on my arm as well, but we went back in and we did all the solid black and then whip shaded out. And I think it pushes the roses out more. And so whatever we did to the arm, it was always going to have to happen up top as well on my neck. So where we did the yellow highlights and the even the midtones and the thorns again, we had to do all that on my throat as well, and the bright red spots as well. I wanted there to be a bit of it kind of everywhere in the red velvet that we've done, just to give some flow and direction. Now I do have a big chunk of that shit on my head too, but I'm not feeling like shaving my hair just yet, so I'm still in the growing process, and my hair takes a very long time to grow. Didn't used to, but that's probably age. I'm not thinning. My hair hasn't receded, and it's not going gray, but it doesn't grow as it once did. So I'm still enjoying having a head of hair, but when I do shave my head again, all of my head will have to be revisited, which is, it's a funny thing to say, but I don't mind working on my head tattoos anyway. Usually when I do shave my head, I'll go through a touch-up at the very least. If not, last time we did 16 sessions on my head tattoos last year. So full remodel, and that's not off the table potentially next year or the following year if I shave then. My wife would very much like for me to be able to grow my hair out quite a bit. She preferred me when I had longer hair. There was a version of us or me with her that had longer hair, and she liked that version more of my hair anyway. She'll tell me she likes bald too, whatever. She's not trying to make me feel bad about being bald, when I'm bald, but when I have hair, she's much happier. So surface things, they do matter. I often I don't think about the attractiveness generally, and people will laugh at that and be like, "Yeah, you've got some ugly tattoos. It shows." Whatever fucking stupid joke. But I don't do body mods and kind of cosmetics to be beautiful or attractive to anyone. I've always just done these things I'll enjoy the look of it or something, but it's not like, oh, if I do this, I'll get laid. I feel some of the tattoo world is. And if it's not directly looking for that result, then it's certainly inspired on a subconscious level that if I get this pretty tattoo, more people will like me. And whereas I was more the weirdo that was, if anything, going the opposite direction. I was doing things to be set apart from the typical attractive norms of what people would desire, And if it ended up being attractive, that was just kind of I wouldn't even say it was a side benefit. I would say it was like a side effect because there was zero intention towards that. Now, it did happen that way. And for the clowns that sometimes will assert, oh, good luck getting a woman, I literally never had any issues finding love, because I think that what's attractive is confidence, and what's attractive is being yourself and being authentic, and when you just wear you and you don't give a fuck, and I make no concessions, a lot of the times, for example, the way that my wife and I interact, even on Remy Reacts, it's a lot of life, I think people, they placate and they pretend and they tiptoe and they kind of posture and play games to try and win people's approval or do the right thing. And I've done the reverse of that. It's not to say that I can't behave myself in situations where it is crucial to act a certain way. It's just that in 95% of cases, I've done exactly as I wanted to do, regardless of what other people thought about it or what it could cost me potentially. And behaving that way has been a bit of a superpower, because so often it's people are afraid to do things because of the cost or the potential danger in the fact. I got into it with my boss, for example, many years ago. We got into a full-on screaming match in the middle of a busy line at work. I used to be a cook for a very long time. And at the end of it, it was if you were anyone else, I'd fucking fire you, but I respect you for standing up to me. And I think people do. I think that when you hold yourself strong and you stand by your words and you do what you want to do despite any of the rest of it, I think in the long term you are justified in it, and it makes people respect you more, not less. Especially, this applies to anything, but it's really applied to the color on black work we've done. To bring it back to tattoos, literally no one had my back on this. There were some people who were biting their lip, and they've since come forward that were like, I gotta admit, when you started that, I didn't believe it would work, but it's always but at the end, right? And there are still people that are doing that. There are still people who, they won't come forward with that until it reaches a certain point where it's now undeniable. And that's most of life. Once you become undeniable, there is zero way to refute what I've been saying on color on black tattoos, then those people either go away or they admit they were wrong. And unfortunately, a lot of people's egos don't allow for admitting they were wrong. It's too bad, because they could stand to learn from it if they could admit they were wrong. A lot of my life has been changing direction. You can go back and watch my first ever reaction to white on black tattoos, and I said some things in there that are incorrect, and people have called me on it, and it's well, no, you don't get to call me on it, because I went on the journey. I fucking went and did that, and I found out and changed as I went. I'll have people who ask me, did you have a set goal in mind when you started the third bodysuit, or did it all just come? It's there's no way, because no one had any concept that this would work. We had Lucky Diamond Rich, who doesn't post, hasn't said fucking anything to anyone about any of this work, and his tattoo artist is a fucking asshole. And then we got a guy doing a few color on black roses on Instagram that doesn't talk about the process. So it's like, it was all smoke and mirrors, and the only concrete discourse around the topic has been through my vlogs. That's it. There's nothing else out there anywhere. So you don't lay out a full bodysuit over black with zero information. You kind of just have to fuck around and get there. And then, because of the work that I've done, there will be a person who does it that way. There will be a person that lays out their entire body over black, and it will work. This is how society moves forward. You have someone that no one believes in go and do something that is said to be impossible. It works, and then more people come around to it, and then we make further advancements. It's why I know that my time being the guy dragging that standard, and I have been given that, whether you like me or not, whether you like my tattoos or not, most people will refer to me when they're talking about this stuff. My time being that guy cannot go forever. I only have so much body, I only have so much drive, so much patience. And believe it or not, I don't actually like the attention. These guys at the shop are always trying to drag me to tattoo conventions, and they're like, dude, your booth would be the busiest bit. And it's like, I don't want anything to do with any of that shit. I don't really enjoy that. I do this stuff like math. I do this stuff like playing a video game, leveling up in a video game or something. It's not, I don't love the circle jerk and adulation and celebrity culture of it. That's the least interesting part of it for me. I've done this stuff as a personal log of my journey, and if it helps someone else out there, fucking awesome. It's the same reason why I made a niche video way back in 2019 called Cross-Threaded Septum, because one time that happened to me and there was zero information on what to do, and if my journey can help anyone else, then I'm fucking happy to share it, and there should be more of that stuff. That's selfless behavior, not selfish behavior. I don't make that much money on these vlogs, guys. I gotta be honest with you. My YouTube goes up and down, but it's never been anything to write home about. And the time it takes me to do all this bullshit, just working a day a week at my old job would be much funner. I actually miss it, believe it or not, and they would be happy to take me on as much or as little as I wanted. So if I was just in this for the fucking money or some kind of applause, yeah, no, I could find better ways to get that. So for anyone thinking, oh well, Remy's gonna keep running this stuff over because he can't stop because he needs this social media thing, and like he can't get all, he needs the attention. It's like, no, I was doing all this long before social media. So anyway, yeah, so this is all done. Next session with Terry, we're gonna be on my hand, and I want to do a few things to my chest. Actually, I've got a plan to kind of embolden the brain here. I've been meaning to get to it for a minute, and I'm in the tidying up stage right now of my tattoo affairs. So, and then obviously more work on the sleeve this coming week. I do believe we'll be hitting the hand on this side as well. So both of my hands should be getting decked this week, and that will mean I'm a little too banged up to work out for a few days, I would imagine. All right, I'll talk to you guys again soon. Have a great day.